So we sort of have our core geography in Glendale and surrounding area, and are definitely more saturated in Los Angeles proper. And in Northern California, we just have a few scattered cooks. We are very early stage, but I'll go through sort of the history of what we've developed to date. Our mobile app, which is sort of our true version 1 product, launched in September of last year. We sort of have 2 applications where you have the consumer side where consumers can purchase food from the cooks, but then we also have an entire suite of tools that the cooks will use to manage their business and really understand, how to schedule and make this business work for every sort of situation and lifestyle. And then we'll go into sort of the legislation and what the history is around the legislation. So real quick, before I just go into that, I wanted to go around the room real quickly just for some quick introductions and kind of what was your passion for coming here today, so I can hopefully answer some of those questions during the presentation too and make it a little bit more worth your while. So Joanna, maybe we'll start with you and then we'll go.
My name is Joanna. I'm a chef certified for about 5 years. I went to CET, local school, getting my certification.
Okay.
State served.
And what kind of cuisine do you like to?
There's a variety, from native food to Mexican food, some little bit of things,
Okay.
Desserts mostly, but a little bit of everything.
Okay, great. All right.
My name is Susan. I've been a chef for about 10 years, and I'm a private chef right now.
Okay.
Just homes, and I teach people how to cook. And I focus on really healthy cuisine, but my favorite cuisine is Persian.
Yay!
It's my favorite. I love it.
Nice. You make korma sabzi?
Yes.
Nice. That's
I
awesome.
just made some cello a couple
I
days ago.
never thought that would come out of your mouth right now. I thought maybe you'd say something, a different cuisine, but that's amazing.
I know people ask me that, and I say the reason is because most cuisine is just a replication, like all dumplings are dumplings. But Persian food is prepared in a very unique way,
Very unique.
and not many people take a bunch of chopped up herbs and say that's stew.
Yeah.
So I find that very unique.
That's
So
amazing.
that's
And but
awesome.
you're originally from the South? Or?
I've lived here for almost 30 years in California, but I'm originally from Canada.
Oh, from Canada. Okay. I did sense something. Okay. Thank you for joining us. Cara?
Hi, my name is Faro, and I'm an everywhere profession, but I'm a chef instructor. I've been teaching like last 10 to 15 years. I've been like traveling all over Europe and Japan, and right now I'm doing San Francisco for around 5 years. Now I've been teaching in different schools, and I'm a chef in Williams and others. I have refugee part of
Perfect.
Hi, my name is Wakita Mastan. I enjoy cooking and I wanted to see what this was about. And I'm a software engineer by profession.
Oh, nice.
And I wanted to segue into the cooking career. So I wanted to see what options.
And what cuisines do you like?
I cook everything. Yeah, any recipe, but I try to make it gluten-free and healthy.
Oh, yeah.
Those are my 2 priorities.
That's great.
Hi, my name is Paula. I wanted to see what this is about. I'm hoping to launch an entrepreneurial bar business, and that's pretty much my interest in cooking right now.
Okay.
I'm looking in the stage of entrepreneurial bar within granola bars.
Like the retail product route. The retail product route.
Right.
Awesome. Great.
Okay, yeah, my name is Arden. I have a startup in Neurally, which is medical devices. And we're about 10 people. Anyway, I do like to cook like crepes, but I like to eat the more Japanese
Japanese, do you like to?
mostly too.
Okay, great.
Hi, my name is Jason. I like to cook a bit on the side. I want to see what this is about.
Okay, cool. What kind of cuisine do you like?
Chinese food.
Chinese food. Great.
Hey, this is Rakesh. I'm a software engineer at Fusion. So my wife is interested in this, so I just want to get some inputs.
Okay. Okay, great. All right, welcome everybody. And then we get in the front here, right? So,
Yeah, I'm Priya, and I'm a homemaker.
okay.
And I like to cook, and what's mostly vegetarian,
Vegetarian.
Indian vegetarian.
Okay, perfect.
But
What
I
part,
do
what
cook-
part of India?
I do cook all food,
Uh-huh.
like Mexican, Italian. I just see the recipes,
Uh-huh.
and I just tweak a bit and make it.
Like
So,
your
yeah.
style. Great. And then the last one. Yeah. No, we have one more. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Pedro D'Souza.
I got interested because I built some apps just like yours in this area, so I got very interested to see what you guys are
Whose is better? You got interested to see whose is
No,
better?
not this was a couple of years back. Was a similar concept. I helped them develop it, and so when I saw this, I think let's look at it. It's pretty good.
Okay, cool. Welcome. All right, Jim.
Hi, I'm Jim. Just curious to see what this is all about. I do like to cook. I cook Mexican, Asian, barbecue.
Okay, cool. All right, so we'll get started. So what is Dish Divvy? We'll just play a real quick video and then I'll jump into it. Welcome to Dish Divvy. We are the platform connecting approved home cooks with hungry neighbors looking for homemade, wholesome food. Start by browsing through amazing dishes that have been prepared fresh and local every day. Filter by cuisine, dietary, or allergen restrictions, even price and rating to find the exact dish that suits you. Once you've found the dish of your choice, view all of its details, including ingredients and possible allergens. Select the portion size of your choice, your desired pickup time, and simply add the dish to your cart and check out. In fact, plan your entire week's worth of meals on one single checkout. So download the Dish Divvy app and solve the dinner dilemma in a homemade, wholesome way every single day. Okay, so that's kind of the consumer side flow. We can go next time. Okay. All right, so to date we have about 90 cooks onboarded onto the platform. Our plan is to have about 300 in California by the end of the year. And our most successful cooks have about 20 plus dishes on the platform. Here we can just show you some of the cooks that we have in different cuisines. So for example, Jane, that first one, she does Thai, Tamar does Persian, we have Armenian, Lebanese, we can keep going, Persian again, Italian. So there's definitely a lot of need for variety on the platform. Sometimes when cooks onboard, they say, okay, well, what happens, if I have lasagna and someone else has lasagna in San Jose? Well, if you go and try to order food from DoorDash, there's like 100 Italian places, that in your area. So that variety actually allows better results for every cook. We've seen that if we have between 4 to 5 cooks in any zip code, then every cook in that zip code does better. Because then when a consumer comes onto the platform, they see a lot of variety and they don't bounce off, right? Because if someone loves your food, of course they're gonna wanna order from you multiple times, but then at some point they're gonna wanna mix it up. And then also when new customers come, they wanna see a lot of variety because food is a very personal experience, right? It's not like buying electronics on Amazon. It's very customized, it's very personable. Something that tastes salty to someone else tastes completely normal to someone else. Someone's version of spicy is very different. Someone's version of like the best lasagna is very different. So it's really important to keep in mind that variety and also learning from other chefs is just a beautiful thing that happens on our platform. So here's just some quick success stories, and I'll go into the procedure of how we onboard and kind of how our system operates after I kind of give you some success stories. So this is Elo. She lives in Glendale. She used to be a prep chef for about 30 years. She recently retired. She's like a 4-time cancer survivor, very type A, very active, and didn't want to just kind of sit at home and do nothing in her retirement, and found this to be sort of her perfect platform. She loves the fact that she gets reviews immediately on the platform because, when you're a prep cook in the back of the house, you don't really get that kind of access to the end consumer to get that gratitude factor. And in fact, for most people who are great cooks, the number one thing that you have on your mind all the time is, did they like my food, right? Before you get paid, before anything, you're just wondering, like, did they like it? What was the review? I hope they enjoyed it. So that's really important for us, that we onboard folks who really embody that vision as well of, look, we're sharing joy with our community through food. Yes, it's an opportunity to gain income. Yes, it's an opportunity to showcase your culinary skill set and make an earning because of it. But at the end of the day, you're enhancing lives. And that should be something that's very fulfilling to you. So she's earned over $5,000 to date, about $1,000 a month on the platform. And she joined in October 2018. She cooks about 3 days a week. But why she's really successful is A, her food is delicious. B, she has about 35, 40 items in her cook library. So she has a lot of variety just within her own cook profile. And she's just really passionate. So she's very adventurous on making a new recipe, taking a photo, upload it. So, you know, we tell prospects that this is your cooking business. You know, we help facilitate with tools to sell, to market, to transact, to do, you know, all of these things to help you manage the operations side of your business. But at the end of the day, it's your face, your brand, your everything on the line. So you're gonna get out of it how much you put into it, right? Can you? What happened? So, okay. So then here's another example. So here's Suraj. He makes a lot of Goan food, Goan like Indian food. He's in Folsom, so Sacramento area. And why we like to showcase him, he just joined, but he's a marketing manager at Intel. He only cooks on the weekends, but he's very active on getting people in his area to engage with him as an audience. When we sent him the welcome kit of containers and labels, he did a whole unboxing and he demonstrated that on Facebook. He made it really exciting. And then when he did his first orders, he put that on Facebook and he created sort of this fear of missing out kind of emotion amongst his fan members on Facebook of like, you need to order from me. He's in Folsom.
I'm from Goa, sir.
You're from where?
I'm from Goa.
Oh, you're from Goa, yeah. No, he's from Folsom, and in fact, we're going to be visiting him tomorrow.
Oh,
yeah.
nice.
So he's already made, actually this number's gone up already, he's already made like $600 on the platform, but again, just doing it on weekends here and there, because he's very active and very passionate about what he does. Bless you. That was his name. Okay, so here we'll show you some cook videos. These are some sneak peeks, they're not kind of out in the public yet, but kind of demonstrating like what our mission is, what our cooks kind of like go through. Go full screen.
My mom fell ill back when I was in 5th grade. It was from that point that we started incorporating healthier, clean eating. It became a passion of mine to take conventional favorites and make a cleaner version of that. It's like sin in the purest form. My specialty is actually vegan cuisine, gluten-free, dairy-free, no refined sugar. Dishdivvy has been the catalyst for me. When I signed up, it was such an easy process. I got a call back, I think within a day. I got approved, and from that point, it was just a matter of me scheduling the dishes and getting it all out there. I feel like you can be as busy as you want to be with this platform. It was the perfect fit for me. I'm Chaz out of Burbank, California, and I'm cooking with Dishdivvy.
So he does all vegan. He's a master nutritionist, and every like that amazing dessert he made, he makes it out of cashew cream, and so it's dairy free, but the cream component is from cashews. So that's kind of his specialty. Here's Linda, just to give you another.
I started cooking when I was a child with my mom. Probably been cooking since I've been about 8. I love cooking because, well, I love food, first of all. It makes me happy and it makes people happy. A friend of mine was on Facebook one day and she saw an ad for And she saw an ad for Dishdivvy. She said, I think you might be interested in this. Sure enough, I contacted Dishdivvy and we've been working together ever since. So I'm glad I looked at Facebook. Instead of running around helping out with the kids or with my husband's work, Dishdivvy allows me to say to myself that I have my own business and that people are appreciating that. It gives you a very happy feeling inside. I mean, I think I know, and it's really true. I feel like that. I tell everyone that. So it's been really a great thing all around. I'm Linda. I live in La Cañada and I cook with Dishdivvy.
Okay. All right. So cool, right? So that kind of gives you insight into sort of the real people behind Dishdivvy. So how do cooks make money on the Dishdivvy platform? Basically, cooks keep 15% of the transactional subtotal, and Dishdivvy keeps 15% of the transactional subtotal, and home cooks keep 85%. So let's say it's a $100 order, $85 goes to the cook, and $15 comes to Dishdivvy. We also charge a 5% platform fee to the end consumer, so that doesn't come out of the cook's commission, so you're always getting 85% off of the subtotal. We also provide a lot of ongoing knowledge base and training, so we really try to act as like an incubator to your business, not an accelerator, not just like, oh, here's an app, go figure it out. So you'll notice we have a lot of training materials, video tutorials, how to help you price your food, how to help you market your food, how to be competitive. So we definitely take a lot of time to make sure you're the right fit to get onto our platform. But then even after that point, we are sort of a partner with you all the way through. So that was just insight into our cook knowledge base. So let's talk about AB 626. Who's been following the legislation, understands sort of the Homemade Food Act? Okay, cool. So I was on the official advocacy team for AB 626. So I was in Sacramento about like 7 times last year lobbying for the passage of the bill. So we were in assembly members meetings, state senators, health appropriations, health committee, you name it. And there was a lot of support from the state level on the legislation side on AB 626. If you've been following it, you'll notice that it passed unanimously in state assembly, it passed unanimously in state senate, and then it got signed into law by Governor Brown and took effect January 1st. So AB 626, for those of you who aren't as familiarized with it, is dubbed the California Homemade Food Act. It's essentially to help micro-enterprise home kitchen operators in the state of California. So it would allow these home kitchen operators to earn up to $50,000 of revenue cooking from their home kitchen. Anyone have a cottage food license or have ever applied for that or know what that is? Know what it is? For granola, you probably have looked into it. Okay, so AB 626, once it's rolled out in the counties, it will supersede your cottage food license permit A. So if you have a permit B where you want to sell direct to retail, AB 626 is not going to cover that. So I just want to make that clear. However, even if you have Class A, and for those who don't know, cottage food permit has been law for about 6 years. It allows home kitchen operators in California to make non-perishable food like granolas or like muffins and sell them to the public in a county permitted way. Class A allows you only to sell direct to consumer, whereas Class B, which is like $100 more for that permit, allows you to sell direct to retailers and wholesalers as well. So technically you can still have your AB 626 permit in the future and hold on to your Class A. And if you did that, and this is important for you for granola, is you can make $50K on cottage food and you can make $50K on AB 626 if you wanted to have both permits. So that's an interesting insight that most people don't know. But it would never replace Class B cottage food law. So this is in Sacramento. I got to be on the Senate floor. The senators kind of took me out to their seats, so that was kind of cool. This is when we had a rally. So this is our legislative consultant. This is Matt from Josephine. For Para, you probably have talked to Matt. And then some of the other Cook Alliance advocacy folks that we were working with. That's after a tiring day knocking on doors. Okay, so what are the main requirements of AB 626? So our current onboarding process is in line and has always been in line with the language in AB 626. And I'll talk about the rollout after we kind of talk about the specifics. So AB 626 requires an on-site kitchen inspection by county officials. The kitchen inspection is very minimal compared to what a commercial kitchen would go through. For instance, in a restaurant, when a health inspector comes out, you have to have a 3-compartment sink, whereas in a home kitchen, you only need to have a sink, right? So you don't have to have a prep sink and then a rinse sink and a disinfectant sink. You just have to have a single sink. You have to have running water that brings in cold and hot water, right? You have to have a refrigerator that is set within the right temperatures for freezing and cooling. You have to have a food thermometer. You have to have separate cutting boards for poultry and produce and that kind of thing. So it's very basic food safety. For those of you who kind of cooked in a more professional manner, who has like a food handler card or a manager's card? Okay, yeah, so pretty much everything that you know in your ServSafe certification is like leaps beyond sort of what you need to have in your on-site kitchen inspection. And for like most cooks who are like doing this really professionally. Like we were at Hughes Kitchen yesterday, and it's just amazing with all the infrastructure and everything that he has in there. That on-site kitchen inspection is going to be something that is not intimidating. It is not that you're going to have to spend money retrofitting your kitchen. Nothing like that. Any questions on the kitchen inspection part before I move
They
on?
come physically and inspect, or like they do it through a video or something like.
They would come physically. They're still putting together their process for that. Like I know in LA County, which is the largest county in California, and in fact, you know, I've been told that a lot of counties are waiting for LA County's process because they kind of mimic that because it's just such a big span county. But it's going to be very similar to cottage food, where they would make an appointment and they would come. What I've heard thrown around is that takes 15 to 20 minutes, and they would go down the inspection list. For instance, if you have pets at home, they either need to be away from the food prep area, or you need to have a door or a pet rail or something keeping them away. So they would check, you know, these items. And you know, from a lot of health inspectors that I've talked to who've also done cottage food inspections, a lot of them say, like, first of all, home kitchens are, on the most part, leaps beyond cleaner than a commercial kitchen, just because of the lower volume that goes through that home kitchen, right? If you have, for example, a huge operation like a cheesecake factory, you have thousands of orders being processed through that facility every single day with probably 30 to 40 staff members, right, going through there. So that's obviously an intricate inspection procedure. But for a home kitchen, they generally know what they're looking for. Obviously, you would automatically fail if you had infestation or anything like that. But you don't need to, it's not going to be an inspection where, for example, you have to store your grains in a certain shelf and then you have to store your other things. You wouldn't have to retrofit your kitchen in any kind of way, per se. If you didn't have running water, of course you would have to have stuff like that. But generally every kitchen in California, for the most part, in living conditions, would have the minimum requirements that they're asking for. Any other questions on the inspection part? Okay. Let's go back to that slide. Okay, so what's been thrown around as an annual permitting fee is maybe around $200 to $250. It's county specific. The counties are talking to each other right now, maybe making like a central governing body for this specific application, but that will be decided pretty soon. And once you're a cook on our platform, like we kind of get a lot of inside information, and we'll pass that information on to you because we have internal info sessions that we do as well. You have to have a food manager's card certification. The reason you can't just fly by with a food handler card is because this permit would allow you to have staff members in your home, up to one non-relative employee in your home. And so technically, since you'd be managing that person, then a manager's card would be necessary. Sorry. Okay, so maximum revenue, you can make up to 50K of revenue per year, and then 30 meals per day or 60 meals per week. These are all sort of self-reported metrics, so it's not like you have to like log in and say how many meals you did that day or anything like that. Those are sort of the same caps that cottage food also has as well.
When I had read that, it said $50,000 gross.
Per year. Per year, yeah. Okay, so because, and then just go to that point, is that's quite a bit of money coming through like a home kitchen. But the last thing like regulators want is to turn home kitchens into restaurants, because then that wouldn't be fair either, because the restaurants have sort of different restrictions that they have to go through. But let me tell you this, like doing $50,000 of revenue of food through your home kitchen is a lot of volume, believe it or not. So probably at that point, you're ready to graduate to like a rented commercial kitchen. This was just some press, Dish Divvy in the press. We'll go next, yeah. Okay, so how do you get started on our platform? First of all, you would go to our website and you click Apply Now. The way our platform operates is we are a closed network of private cooks in sort of a supper club kind of way. Once AB 626 has passed, we are going to transition into ready-to-serve meals to the open public because we're growing. We first started just in sort of our small Glendale area in LA, and I've worked with officials there on the small model of neighborhood sort of food sharing, and we've really helped kind of take the operational learnings of what home cooks are doing and help these regulators and inspectors and understand how to make legislation and permitting processes that will actually work for the home cooks. So this has been kind of an interesting process because they've been very open to like learning from industry and learning from operations to create a system that will empower the labor groups that this bill was set to go help, right? So that's really important. On our process, to become a private home cook on our platform, you do have to go through an onboarding process. Like I said, it's not just, oh, you know, I can make a great omelet, can I like sell on your platform? No, like we're really looking for people who are extremely passionate about cooking and sharing that joy of food with people. So we have an onboarding process that helps keep our quality at a very high level. So you would apply now. It's a very short form application. You can do that today if you're interested to get the process started. Or you can go on the website on our Cook With Us page and do that as well. We have a Cook With Us info booklet that you can take home today. So you'll have all that information with you as well. Go back real quick. So you would click here. You're going to get a short questionnaire and then you get the process started. Also, when you navigate this website, if you have friends who are interested, you can obviously share the website with them. We also have the cookbooklet in Spanish on this website too, so you can send them to that as well. Okay, thanks. First step, you will, yes?
So what is the onboarding process look like for who someone does not know English or Spanish? How does this work? Like
if they have a language barrier?
Yeah.
Usually, what we have internally so far is Spanish, English, Farsi, Armenian support. For all others, what we've done is either speak to like a son or daughter who's helping or a relative. The nice thing is once the onboarding process, which is not too difficult to have a translator with, the app is made very user-friendly, so even our older cooks who maybe don't know English, it's so intuitive for them to like accept the order, process the order, and hand off the order. So from that respect, I think it's easy sort of on a day-to-day operation once you're onboarded. The other things that the children or the relatives might still help with is like uploading a dish or tagging ingredients or writing a description for a dish. But all of that stuff comes into our platform as a draft, and we do sort of a quality control read-through of it, and then we publish it. So even now we have sort of like a mechanism to help that. Does that answer your question? Okay, so now I'm going to go through sort of what is the onboarding process. So you'll get an email with the next steps. In that email, sort of in step 1, it'll say watch the FAQs video. This is really important. Me and Nahi put together this frequently asked questions video because we constantly were being asked the same questions on the phone consultation, and we realized, okay, well, if we have a video, then we can take that phone consultation from 45 minutes to really like 10 minutes. And in fact, you guys are getting a lot more information today because you're here. So whoever does an application today, we're going to bypass the phone consultation since we're kind of live and having a better conversation. So step 1, you go on our calendar, you schedule your phone consultation. It should take anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes. We just make sure that our missions are aligned, your expectations are aligned. At the end of the day, like I said, this is your cooking business, so you get out what you put into it. We help you so much along the way, but because this is a new geography, you're not gonna like sort of put your food and all of a sudden you're like making $50,000 a year, right? It takes time to get to that point. So we're really looking for cooks who are so passionate about their thriving cooking business that we can work with you to expand this geography. Step 2 is you're gonna upload your food handler card. In our platform, you do not have an employee that works for you. It's a single cook. Of course, you can have a relative, I can't say anything about that, that may be helping you wash dishes or something. But once you decide to get your AB 626 permit, you are going to have to graduate to a food manager's card. So the food handler card is like a 3-hour online test, and it's about $8 to $10 to take. And then the certification is emailed to you directly, like you take the test online, and as soon as you pass, I think you have to pass with a 80% pass rate, then the PDF of that card is sent to you, and it lasts you 3 years. Then your step 3 is you schedule your on-site kitchen visit, where we come and do the inspection that happens with AB 626, so it's kind of a good prep for you. What's even better is we do a food photography session that day. Who's been on our app and kind of looked at the food and all on the front end of the app? Okay, you probably see that the food looks good, right? The photography is good. That's really important to us because already we're entering a zone where we have to create trust in the share economy of people buying homemade food. And so if you take dark pictures, shadow pictures, sloppy, splattered, spilled, patterned plates, I mean, you name it, like, we will reject it. And we have food photography tutorials to help you get better at that. And Hugh has realized how easy it is, right? We were doing kind of a photo session at his home yesterday. 3 main things: use indirect sunlight, use white plates, and then like a rustic background. Those are really important. If you take indoor shots, if you take dark shots, if you use plates that have, you know, all those weird colors on it, then it's just not going to look good. So that's really important to us. This is all the food that is actually photographed and available on our platform, so it's very important to have high quality presentation. So if we would love for you guys to have an open discussion. We want you to ask questions. If you want to join today, we have the online application you can fill out. It doesn't commit you to anything. It really just helps tell us that, look, I'm serious about this and I really want to talk about the next steps. And then for any questions that you have that you want to discuss one-on-one, that's why we're here. We really want to sort of meet you and understand what your goals are, where you see yourself in 5 years. You know, a lot of people want to get into the commercial food space, but you don't want to put up $500,000 and open up a restaurant where 9 out of 10 times that fails. The reason for this legislation and the reason for the food share movement and the reason it's become so big in the past year, and you've probably been hearing a lot of hype about it, is because Californians need better options to make extra income in the commercial food space. It is way too difficult and competitive and risky to go the traditional route. And so legislators are really understanding that and really providing mechanisms to do that. So Nahid and I are here to talk about, you know, how you can join. A couple of things I'll go through just so you can see how the app helps you in your cooking business. So how do cooks manage their orders? Well, first the order comes in, you see exactly what's in the order, you confirm the order, and then you know exactly what time that customer is going to pick up the food. We are partnered with DoorDash, and so if the customer decides to send DoorDash to pick up the food, then they will select the time DoorDash will be there. On your side, you'll just be told what time your food needs to be ready at so that DoorDash can pick it up and deliver it on time. So even in the scenario of delivery, we never have our cooks leaving their home, and the delivery cost comes directly out of pocket for the consumer, and it never comes out of your share. So you're always keeping 85% of your subtotal regardless. And that's really nice because a lot of private chefs who have to deliver, it becomes a big hassle because you're wasting time in traffic, your food gets spilled and all that kind of stuff because you're running around. And then if you had another customer who wanted to pick up at the same time, well, you can't be in 2 places at once. And so it's really important for you to stay at sort of your home restaurant location. You get a direct connection with the customer through the app. So on any active order, a customer and you can chat through the app. And so if they ask you like, hey, can I have salt on the side or low salt or sauce on the side, or I said spicy, but I wanted it mild because my kid's gonna eat it, or whatever, they can do that. And people love that because customization and personalization is becoming a huge aspect of the food industry, and this allows customers to have direct access to your food handler, right? In restaurants, if you order, let's say, from CPK, you order a salad, well, 8 to 10 people touch that food before you get it in your hands, right? Here, in this situation, in this model, you have direct access to your food handler, so a customer really loves that aspect of sort of getting a personal chef who's ruining their kitchen and not theirs, but is able to get sort of that customized feel, and the chat mechanism really helps that even further. Next. Other tools that you get a dish uploader, you can chat with the customer, you can get your reviews, you can see all your earnings. Everything is done through the app. Once you hand off the food to the customer, exactly 48 hours later, the money is direct deposited into your account. So that's kind of generally how the workflow is being a cook on the platform. So I'm going to open it up to questions, which I'm sure there's going to be many. Go ahead.
This question, do you need to have any insurance?
Yeah,
in case you get sick or you get sued or...
Yep, so we provide an umbrella insurance for all of our cooks that fulfills the product safety from when that food leaves the cook's hands and travels to the end consumer. So now let's say the cook, cut their finger, God forbid, or something while they're cooking in their home or burn their house down. Well, you need to have liability insurance sort of as like working from home kind of thing. So we strongly encourage that. But from a product completion standpoint, we insure the food as soon as it leaves your hands and travels to the end consumer.
What about packing while delivering?
So we give you a welcome kit for the containers and labels that have our branding on it. That will get you through sort of your first 20 orders. When you run out of those, we will fulfill all the labels that will go on the packaging, but then we have packaging guidelines, and you can use our access to Restaurant Depot, which has wholesale warehouses. There's one in San Jose, it's actually not very far, where you can get containers, but it has to abide by our quality standards. Typically, like even for a family size, a container is going to run you 15 to 20 cents per item. And so we just say, okay, if you're going to sell something for $4, just sell it for $4.25. If you feel like the packaging is really eating at your margins. In any case, cooks are independent contractors, and so you have to provide your own materials for containers. However, to be on our platform, you have to abide by the quality standards that we send you a container guide. So you can't get, like cheap paper stuff and things are spilling out of it or falling out of it. Like, it's really important that quality is maintained.
Will the client say that we want this kind of, like we want certain kind of something like that?
Not really. We don't adhere to that. I think in the future, we are going to maybe think of like a BYOC, bring your own container kind of functionality of like maybe reward with points and stuff for like bringing your own container. There's some logistical issues behind that because, let's say they bought a container that was too small. Or like, let's say they bought a container that wasn't appropriate for a curry or a soup, right? So we're still thinking that through. Because we're so early stage and we are like a seed stage funded company, we are trying to make sure that we're very efficient in what we do now before we try to like kind of conquer everything. Yeah.
I have a question, like, is it like, can we participate in small events? Maybe as a family community event, and I, as a chef, with a dish TV, go there and sell the food?
Absolutely, and we love that. And we were talking about this earlier of sort of like the cooks who are much more involved and want to be more in the community. We actually approach them of like, hey, do you want to be a brand ambassador for us? And have sort of a different relationship with those cooks as well. Like Hugh is a perfect example of that. Because then, that's why we created such a known ecosystem in LA, because we are part of the community. And like we've gone into the public schools and our cooks have done teaching demonstrations with the high school students. And not for pay, like we've just done it because we want to create a community environment. So I think that's fantastic, and you're thinking definitely along the right lines, and that's how we like to operate too, because this, like, we truly, genuinely, to our core, feel like food is like one of the foundational items that brings people together, whether it's in culture or cross cultures, right? And what we've seen is like there's curbside friendships that are happening between neighbors and cooks and all these things, and embodying that into more formal community events is a natural mission for us and what we do even in LA all the time.
I have a question regarding the onboarding process. So maybe I didn't understand it completely. So the first step is actually I have to fill up the form, for example, on your website, and after that you would come to my place to take a look at it in terms of the verification, right? Do you guys charge anything for the photography session as well as the services that we provide when you do the verification at our place?
No. I mean, for us, it's really important that we do sort of these non-scalable things, right? Because sometimes people are like, you're a tech company and you're doing this non-scalable thing. Yeah, because that's the human thing to do, and that's the right thing to do, and we really want to see our cooks be successful. But what we do is we teach you how to fish, right? And so we don't come and just say, every time you need a photo session, like, call us. No, we give you a guide. It's very basic and very simple, and cooks are just amazed at their own selves of how good a food photographer they become. But all of that, there's no fee. We really just take that 15%, and we cover the credit card transaction fees.
And that session is probably before the original officials come into play, right?
Yeah, because the AB 626 permitting process, the time frame for that, for the resolution to roll through into the cities, is probably June time frame. So we're getting a lot of our cooks ready for that. And hopefully it's not delayed, because it's supposed to be March in LA, but there's an emergency bill going through the California legislature right now. Basically, the counties were like, we don't want to like opt in when the cities can then one opt out. And so this emergency bill that's going through right now, it doesn't go through the same approvals and stuff. It just gets quickly through, and it's going to pass in maybe a month. What they wanted to do is, if the county, let's say Santa Clara County is opting in, then every city under that county automatically opts in. And so that's just easier for counties because before it was going to be a nightmare it was just a terminology thing on how the bill was written that they had to pass this AB 377 to make sure that the terminology can be a little bit more clarified. So that's good news for chefs because you don't have to be like, well, my county's in and like, is my city or is my city not? So that's actually good news. So it's okay that it's delayed, but the later version of that resolution is going to look better.
So this would be your own business essentially, so there's no license, San Jose business license required?
Every city's different. Every
Okay.
city's different. So like from a city perspective, like if you're a caterer, like some cities want you to have a city permit. Honestly, what I've come to realize is cities just want to sell as many city permits as they can. So they're gonna be like, oh, this is a new city permit we can sell. So if your city decides to adopt like a new city permit, then yeah, technically you should get it.
At that, if they decide, but as of right now, everyone.
Yeah,
it's
like
okay.
what would be a good indicator of that is like, and city permits are so cheap, right?
Right here in San Jose.
How much is a
But
city permit?
everywhere else they are. That's one of the things that bothers me about doing this is that I have to pay $300, $400 for my permit. Just for the city of San Jose. It's a tax, it's only been a tax.
Oh,
It's
wow.
a tax. They're terrible here.
Wow, that's
Now,
a
the
lot.
one thing that I do know from coming here is that we do have a lot of San Jose city officials coming in, and oftentimes you can actually talk to them about those issues, and if you talk to them, they're willing to work with you.
Yeah.
And they're very much pushing people into building their own
That's why people move
businesses
to
and
Gamble, because it costs $75.
Oh wow. I think in the city we're in, it's like $30 or something.
Yeah, everywhere else it's really cheap.
And something
So,
else you might
there's
look into if the city business permit is different for home-based businesses versus like retail businesses, because that fee might be different for a
Maybe they
home-based
have
When we
business.
check and reconfirm what, apart from other things, what license we need to apply.
So
Which is the
right.
place to go get that information.
Yeah, right now we just have to hold tight until June because the counties are still slow. But basically what's the best next step for people in Santa Clara is call and we'll email an update after this meeting, call your board of supervisors for the county and urge them to have the resolution quick, right? But now their hands are tied because this emergency bill is going through, so they have to wait till that's passed before they can do anything. But like LA County officials, they're already writing the resolution because they know it's imminent. I haven't worked with Santa Clara closely, but the Cook Alliance has, so I can reach out to Matt and Liz at the Cook Alliance to see where they're at with Santa Clara. San Mateo's already said they've officially on the record have opted in, and so has like the county of Davis. I forget what it's actually, Yolo County, something like that.
yeah, it's either YOLO. Yeah, I think it's either YOLO or.
Yeah, and then I would almost guarantee, give my personal guarantee that once LA County publicizes that they're in, so many other counties will be on board. Because not only do other counties in California look at LA County, but other states outside California not only look at California for food law, but also look at LA County for food law. So it's just because of sheer numbers, right? LA County is the biggest county in the entire country, and they oversee the biggest number of retail food operations. So it's a kind of a thing where they kind of want to make sure they do it right and take their time to do it right.
Why do it when you can copy something?
What's that?
Why read to have your county do it when you can copy another county?
Yeah.
I have another question. Yeah. You discussed briefly with the gentleman who said, "Oh, I only cook on the weekends." Looking at that app, and I'm trying to understand in terms of time management.
Yeah.
So if I say, for example, I work Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Those are available, and I see with the app it shows available time for delivery. Is that what that is suggesting to me?
So let's say you said Tuesday, right? It's
Yeah.
like, okay, I'm making horme sabzi on Tuesday, right? Okay, so when you upload that dish, you put a prep time for every single dish. So you're saying, okay, my prep time for horme sabzi is 6 hours, okay?
Okay.
So, and then you're saying I'm offering it on Tuesday between 12 noon and 8 p.m., okay? Well, if I'm ordering at 12 p.m., I can't get it for 12 p.m. pickup. My first pickup time is gonna be 6 p.m. And then we have 15-minute windows, so, or 6:15 or 6:30 up until 8 p.m., which is your last window. So if I'm gonna order the time that dish will be cut off is 2 p.m., right? After 2 p.m. I can't order because there's nothing after 8 p.m. as a pickup. So our algorithm will take into account your prep time and your pickup window. We have other features too that you can toggle on or off and make it even better. And then you have a calendar where you're like, every Tuesday I'm making Korma Sabzi between 12 to 8, so you can just do a repeat schedule if you like.
And how do we decide the pricing? That's totally our pricing or
You have a new dish uploader, and we have some guides, but we suggest that two main things. One, calculate your unit cost for single serving, how much ingredient went into that. Keep that cost below 20% of your final retail price. So if you're selling something for $10, your food cost should be around $2. That, and then go on like Grubhub and other items and see what is the going rate for that item that you're selling, and try to be like 20% cheaper than the restaurant alternative, right? Now, if you're using premium ingredients, and in fact, when you add dishes to our platform, you can add special dish options. You can say organic meat, yes, no. If the customer says yes, it's extra $3 per serving. Should I let the customer select between spicy level? Yes, mild, spicy. You can customize that, so then when the customer is checking out, they can get the option of like organic beef. They put yes, it adds $3 to their total. And so if you're thinking, well, I only do organic, you can do like a baseline price, and you can add premium dish options to have better pricing variability too.
Is it food only, or is it like, see in Indian community, right, there are a lot of functions which like depending on the region and culture they follow, right, there will be like 10 to 15 sweets alone they will do that for, so Indian community will go and buy only the sweets. The food they will cook at home, but only the sweets, and sometimes,
you can do sweets.
Yeah, something like that is
Our experience is if you only do sweets, then you're not as competitive.
No, I'm not asking like that.
Yeah.
Just along with the other dishes,
Absolutely.
can you do
Oh yeah, desserts is like a big part of it.
like ice creams, cookies?
Yeah, and in fact, on the filters, when the customer, like let's say a customer is specifically looking for sweets, they can put their address and see everything in the area, and on filters, they can filter with dessert and baked goods, and then they can just see the items that have been tagged with those.
No, like what I'm saying is, let's say if there is like Diwali, the festival of lights is coming in November, right? They will try to pre-order in October or September in India, because it's like a lot of people will order, and then it will be like really in demand.
Yeah.
Like I'm asking, like now this is like a short window, right? Like my weekly.
This allows you to see sort of 60 days in the future.
Right.
But if you share the direct link to that dish, even though it's not on the dish window, someone can still go directly to it and order it. And what I should say too is we manage inventory all by single portion. So when you schedule that dish and you're like, oh, this is gonna be super popular, I don't want to be overwhelmed, you can say, okay, my max capacity is 30 single servings, and so when the 30th is purchased, it'll sell out the item for that day, and you won't get any.
No, like for an example, right? Let's say pancake is the completed dish, right? People buy only the batter. Like they buy only the batter, like that.
Yeah, we've done that. Like for example, we had a Russian cook who does like the blin cheeks, and she made the crepe part, which is labor intensive, and sold the crepe part because the people buying it like to put their own filling in there.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, you can be creative that way.
Yeah.
You just don't want to you can't have raw items going out.
Yeah.
Okay. You can't have raw items, and the thing, I should say too, with AB 626, you can't sell raw oysters, which I don't know who wants to buy raw oysters from a home kitchen. And you can't sell raw unpasteurized milk, which again, I don't know who wants to buy.
I don't even order anything like that from DoorDash or.
No,
like,
yeah,
like,
it's just legislators have to make sure, like,
yeah, but
technicalities
even
are in there.
sushi, sometimes I'm kind of concerned with ordering.
Yeah.
That. And the thing is, like,
People even ask us, like, will Japanese chefs make sushi on your platform? Like, I think sushi's better for the restaurant. I don't know. We'll see.
I just feel that it's a little better fresh, unless we know how to keep proper temperatures.
Yeah. I mean, sushi is not outlawed in the bill, but raw oysters is. Because raw oysters has the highest risk factor for, I forget which pathogen it is.
Shigella.
Which one is it?
Shigella.
Might be, yeah. So that's the logic behind it. Yes, Par?
Yeah, so in case somebody orders from me at the last moment, the person cancels the order or doesn't come to pick up.
Yeah, we have.
Liable for that, like
so unless they cancel within 48 hours, they're liable for it. now let's say it's like you have a 3-hour prep window and you haven't even prepped and they cancel 24 hours before, like, we know we'll work with them, but technically we have a 48-hour cancel window. If they just didn't show up, and this happened once where the customer underestimated, because in LA, like 4 miles could be like 4 hours. So they underestimated sort of where the cook was, and they was like a $12 order. They were just like, let her keep it, I'm not coming. That's only really happened once in our whole history. But generally, yeah, if that happened, we'd go case by case. But those are like definitely edge cases, and they don't happen very often. Again, the chat app mechanism is really good because you would chat them and say, like with Suraj, one of his people forgot. And then he's like, I'm waiting for you, it's 10 minutes past the thing. She's like, oh my gosh, I forgot. But she happened to live in the same building complex. And so she got there in like 5-10 minutes. But the chat mechanism is a good way to communicate some of those. And then if you need to elevate that issue, distributed administration, there's 3 people on the chat: the cook, the customer, and distributed administration. And so if you tag admin, then we can get involved and help with the customer support.
So you follow the food safety in your home, of course, and you prepared, let's say I prepared some borscht. I love borscht.
Yeah.
I prepared some borscht. The company that comes to get it, did they have food safe, like?
DoorDash?
Yeah, did they have something to keep it warm so that it doesn't?
Yeah, absolutely.
They manage that.
Yeah, of course. And DoorDash is a $6 billion company.
I assumed
right?
as such, I've never used them. So
Oh, yeah. They're based in San Jose. They actually started in what, San Jose?
Yeah, it's
Palo
not
Alto?
San Mateo.
Something.
Yes, in Palo Alto.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're, I mean, we partnered with them as opposed to some Joe Schmo independent delivery provider because they have those quality standards. And so, like, you know, their drivers have hot, cold bags. There's other customer support aspects. So, like, if it was shown that, let's say, the borscht spilled and splattered everywhere and the customer had issues and we realize it's a DoorDash, like, DoorDash will reimburse that as opposed to us.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's good mechanisms in place with them.
What's the ratings on like barbecue? I barbecue in my backyard.
Can you? You're asking?
I mean, is that okay?
It's okay. Yeah, you can have like a smoker or a barbecue or something like that. But any equipment that you'll be using, you have to mention in your 8626 application. But it's okay to have outdoor cooking equipment in your kitchen operation. Any other questions? Okay.
Is there an initial cost to get on the platform?
No, there's no filing fee or anything like that. And then there's no sort of like, oh, we take X of your first orders. It's always just 15%. So if you make you get an order, we make money. If you don't, we don't.
Any plans to go international?
Yes, there's been a lot of approaches. I know it's actually like in China and India, this is already very common, sort of to speak. We have to find a good partner for that because like we're so spread thin, just even on LA. Like it was a big decision for us to come to Northern California. Hopefully by the time we get to our next funding raise, then we'll think about something like that. But even the tourism industry has approached us of like, you know, how can we use this app to, when tourists get onto the bus to go visit the village with people, there's no restaurants out there, but they get hungry because it's a 5-hour stretch of time. Can we get the village women to like sell their food through your app, and then the tourists can go pick it up from like the village women and create this microwave economy for them. So there's definitely a huge vision for us, but we are very focused on like every step that we're taking.
I'm sorry, I got here a little bit late. So what company you're with Dish Divvy?
Yeah.
So you're based out of LA?
In LA, yeah. How'd you hear about that? Did you just want to be a cook or?
Well, it's for a relative of mine.
Oh, okay, good.
For an older relative, I'm coming to get the information.
Okay, good. So just make sure you get, because you came in late is why I'm asking. We'll give you a cook booklet. If you have any questions, we can answer what you missed from the info. Okay. And then please grab some food. There's a lot.
One more question.
Yeah.
What is doing well, like in terms of I know obviously variety is the spice of life, but what is doing well in terms of what offerings people want?
That's a really good question. I think what's doing well is sort of a full meal offering, right? So, you know, if you just put like salmon, well, the salmon, you want to formulate your dish as like a full meal. Well, salmon should probably have some, whatever, cauliflower rice and something next to it, right? Or if you're doing, you know, something more ethnic, like enchiladas, right? Maybe you should have rice and beans next to it. So more full meal options that's where you're more competitive, because if I go on DoorDash, right, and I have to order 3 things sort of a la carte, and then I have to pay the expensive DoorDash fee, and then I have to, like, all of a sudden I'm paying $50 for my lunch or $50 for my dinner, right? It's like, okay, how can we be so competitive of like, I can provide this meal for $13, $14, whatever it is, but it's full. Like, you don't need to really get anything else. Sure, you can get other things I have today, but that's a full meal. So people really like that. People really like the fact that, like, let's say what I encourage is, say you're cooking, because you're not a restaurant, you can't schedule like 20 things in one day, right? Because then you can't get one order of this and one order of that. That's not profitable. But like, let's say you're making a meal, and then a lot of those ingredients are synergistic in another side item, right? And then so like you're making a meal and it has roasted carrots. Okay, well you do roasted carrots a la carte, and then maybe you do like diced carrots with something a la carte, whatever. So then when someone goes to check out, before they check out, we give a pop-up of, you know, Susan, right? Susan has other side items today. Do you want to add them to your cart too? Then that's good, because you're already having that ingredient on hand and it's not really like getting into your margins, but it's showing you to be more variety that day.
And you can change those easily yourself, right?
Absolutely.
As a cook and
Yeah.
say, hey, I happen to have spatzulas available instead of cauliflower rice. Would you like to have that?
As long as it's in your dish
As long
library.
as it's in my library.
Yeah, because again,
So
initially,
I make this library, then I permit some people to see some of it depending on what I'm of it.
yeah, and I can show you that kind of offline. I can show you how that works too. Yeah. But if you decided that minute to upload a dish, because it comes in draft form and we have to approve it, it won't be in your library. It's whatever you sort of have
It
to
has
that
to,
point.
has to be in your repertoire.
Yeah, and so that's why it's good to really focus on building that repertoire, because once it's built, it's so easy. It's like bam, 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 and you can just kind of like.
And can I clarify something? Ani mentioned that most cooks that are successful up to now, they have about 20-30 dishes uploaded. That 20-30 dish is not shown to customers every single day, because like she's saying, you cannot prepare out that many dishes every day. They choose out of the 20-30 which one they're cooking today. So they might be cooking 2 or 3. The rest is hidden. It's just in their library and it's in their inventory. Next day it will be another 2-3. So just by uploading them, people are not going to see them. They will see them only if you schedule them on a certain day.
Right. So someone right now is getting corned beef.
Yeah.
It's the season.
Yeah, because like even with borscht, right? Like maybe in the hot June month, you're not going to be scheduling that. So it's very important too.
Or our holiday dishes, turkey dishes, or Valentine cookies and things like that. They are on your library, but you don't schedule them until that day of. Or
and you mentioned cookies, so baked goods are part of this, right?
Yeah.
Is that selling like a loaf of bread? Like,
so
is that how you would do that?
We
you
only
can't say
have
a serving a slice of bread that I made.
No, we have 2 portions in the app across the board, single or family. Family is always times 4 of the single, but the price is discounted by 5%, rounded up to the nearest 50 cents. So usually it's less than 5% discount. So in that case, if you're doing, let's say your single portion is a loaf of bread, then your family portion is 4 loaves of bread, right? But like what we like to do is, like, let's say you have muffins. You can do your single portion as 3 muffins, and then your family portion by default would be a dozen.
A dozen.
Yeah.
It's not really more like a serving, I guess. Is what it
Yeah, and so what we have too on our app is when you upload your dish, you put your description for a single portion and you put the description for a family portion.
Right.
That's good for you because it reminds you what your portion size is, and that comes on the order details every time someone orders. But it's also good for the consumer because they want to see, did I order enough for my family? There's no portion transparency on like Grubhub or DoorDash. You kind of like don't know if you're ordering enough for your family, right? So we put portion descriptions, and customers like that. They get transparency into like what they're ordering.
At the end of the day, you are in control of every aspect of your business and even the portion size. So for example, we have one of our cooks who is Chaz, I believe you saw the video. He makes these really vegan, dairy-free pies. It takes a lot of time for him to make it. He's not willing to sell it by slice because it's just too expensive.
That was my next question.
His single serving is an entire pie. you want it or not, it's the entire pie. Whereas there are other cooks who are willing to make a pie and sell only a single serving of it, so they choose a single serving.
Maybe
of
it's a
it.
less labor-intensive cake.
So
or
at the end, it's you to decide, do I want to sell the whole loaf or am I willing to slice it up and just sell 2
My
slices?
bread's pretty good, I don't know.
Well, then I can't wait till your kitchen is
Yes.
Another idea to get the gears moving is, let's say you're doing, you know, like we said like in every culture there's like a dumpling, right? Well, let's say you made 100 of those and you have them in the freezer. You can put on the app preparation method, sort of boiled, fried, frozen, whatever applies to that item. And some folks like to pick that up frozen because they want to have it in their freezer. And that's what I do from our cooks, because my kids, then I can like really quickly make the dumpling and then they can take it to school that day. So I actually order like 24 of them all frozen because then I can just kind of pop them in when I want. So there's a lot of flexibility to help, because we're trying to provide management software for cooks from all different cuisines, all different backgrounds, all different dishes. So we're trying to create a lot of customized features through that process.
Do you help in marketing?
Yes.
Kind of what, like, how do you market like
So for example, you just saw those videos, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we had a huge video production crew that went, and we have these funny commercials that are coming out. We are boosting, you know, your dishes in certain geographies that you're in. The reason we're putting effort now in San Jose is unless we have 5 or 6 cooks here, it's really hard for us to justify ad dollars behind that. Because let's say it's just you, right? And you're only cooking on Thursday. Well, if a customer comes on the app on Monday and they see there's nothing there, we just spent $20 for that customer to come there and then they've left and they'll never come back, right? So we're very strategic on how we spend the ad dollars, and we do a lot of sort of like organic grassroots methods too, like you mentioned community events or those kinds of things, and then also like, you know, these commercials that'll be coming out. So we definitely have a lot of strategy that goes into how we spend it, but yes, customer acquisition is a big part of what we look at.
It's a tax sector, so just want to know, like, do you provide any 1099 when you sell food from the app?
Can you what? I'm sorry?
1099.
Yes, yeah. When the final step after your kitchen inspection goes through, you fill out a W-9, and then you connect your direct deposit account as well.
And just adding to your question on the advertising, we also offer 50% discount to first-time clients, which is the dollar that we cover. It doesn't come out of your 85%, so it's like free advertising for you. You can use those, you know, spread it around in schools, communities, try to get that first order, and we will cover that 50% for you. So it's
So like,
for example, I'll pass this around to you.
So like I go to different schools, you know, in different areas. So if I like to community do some events, you know, free events. So like the raw ingredients I buy, so I pay them for the advertising of Dish TV, or you reimburse me or leave like certain percentage or 50-50, something like that.
I think we take it case by case, because if you joined us officially as a brand ambassador, we have a different pay relationship with you that's separate than your cook side, and then we have ways that we cover expenses for that brand ambassador outreach. But if you sort of are doing something to like just promote like your cook profile or whatever,
No,
that's
like I'm talking about Dish TV.
exactly, yeah.
Not
So
my
when we do that, we engage with you more on like a formal brand ambassador side, and kind of work with you as like in an in-house way. And again, we really look for cooks who really embody our mission, understand the platform, are passionate about it, know how to talk to customers, that kind of thing, and we partner with them. Yeah.